Hello, I'm Mark Dujsik of MarkReviewsMovies.com.
And I'm Brett Arnold of Yahoo Entertainment and the New Flesh podcast. And also At the Movies Again, this podcast, formerly known as Roger and Me, aka Roger Ebert and Me. We're a Siskel and Ebert style movie review podcast. We're acting as a tribute to that show. We have no affiliation with that program. We just are filling a gap that we saw in culture because there is no show where there are two critics exhaustively covering every movie that comes out every week, whether it's in theaters, on demand, or on streaming. And I think this week we have like one of every category. We have 6 movies to talk about. If you go to markreviewsmovies.com, where my co-host Mark Dujsik posts his reviews, there are 3, 6, 9, 12. So he has literally double the output of today. I will be catching up with the major releases that I missed because I had family in this week and I didn't have time to go to all the screenings I needed to go to. So I will be catching up with Leviticus, which Mark really liked. It's a horror movie that's in theaters now. And there's The Death of Robin Hood. I don't even know how to describe that movie. I feel like it's like a somber action movie. Is that right?
It is in the first act. I don't want to say too much.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. We'll talk about The Death of Robin Hood.
We will definitely talk about it.
Yeah. But you guys can see those both now and get ahead of me. Mark wrote, as already mentioned, Mark liked both of those. So if you're like waiting for a seal of approval, you don't have to. You can go and see it, and we'll catch you next week. But for this episode, we have Toy Story 5, which I think everyone knows what that is. Voicemails for Isabelle, a romantic comedy tearjerker that Mark and I had very different reactions to. Maddie's Secret, another movie we had different reactions to. Never Change, another movie we had different reactions to. Rose of Nevada, I think we'll be in about agreeance on that one. And then The Voices of Our Mother, we'll be back in agreeance again. I don't know why I spoiled the entire episode right there, but it was fun. It was fun and funny.
I think it's worth mentioning because we do agree a good amount, but then when the disagreements come, they are they're big, and I think there's 3 kind of sizable ones on this one. I think
it's going to be an difference. Interesting conversations are about to be had for sure. And the other movie that I wanted to see that I didn't realize was in my inbox until it was already expired was Unidentified, which Mark says was good until the 3rd act, I believe, is what Mark says. Yeah. So I'm very interested in watching that, and I've emailed so many people trying to get them to refresh my link, and they did not. So maybe next week if I get that back. But otherwise, let's just get into it, unless Mark has any major Mark announcements.
Nope. I got nothing.
Mark is playing Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I don't know.
Yeah, I finally got it and started it up.
I don't know if this is too much information to be giving people. I don't want to be doxing your...
Oh, no, it's not.
Your gaming history.
No, if anybody's following me somehow, that many people follow me on my PlayStation thing, so it's like... But yeah, I started it late last night and had to force myself to turn it off. So it's going to be one of those games, it seems.
I just got it again from the local library, which I keep doing. I keep putting it on hold, playing it maybe once, and then having to get it again. But support your local library. Hilarious. Couldn't help myself. I'm going to take that again. Support your local library, guys. They have video games. You don't have to be spending $80 or whatever they cost now. You can spend $0 and still beat a game. Anyway, let's talk about Toy Story 5. Which, speaking of video games, there's some great Toy Story games. Did you play Toy Story 3 back in the day?
I did not.
It's getting a redo on Nintendo Switch 2 and maybe all the consoles actually, because it was such a beloved platformer game, and I will be playing it. Anyway,
I remember the Toy Story game for like the Super Nintendo was kind of infamously buggy and glitchy and not good. So
that's wild that the first one came out when Super Nintendo was the platform.
I know.
That really speaks to...
we got to go back that far.
31 years ago is when Toy Story debuted in theaters. And now we have the 5th one in theaters now. And I think the quality of this franchise has kind of stayed good in a way that others have not, even other Pixar films. Anyway, we'll talk about it. Here's a trailer for Toy Story 5.
I can't. It's only spotted. It's good to be back.
Shiny.
What?
Nothing.
Someone needs a brown marker.
It's been too long, Woody. Came here as fast as I could after Jesse called for help.
Oh, thank you.
We've got it handled. Look, star, deputy, me, no star.
Oh, hey, Buzz, what is that?
What? Where?
Ow.
Hey,
I'm gonna let this device know how things are run around here.
try to stay calm, Jesse.
And the definition of calm.
That's not gonna work.
I want to talk to you, device.
Not touching, Jessica.
Oh, no.
She used the J word.
Scandal.
Hi!
Toy Story 5, the toys have a real reason to return this time, I feel like, to tell modern children about the perils of, I guess, relying only on technology as your source of like community, because the movie does, pull its punches in a way that Disney has to, because Disney also is selling a lily pad tablet, which feels completely antithetical to.
Of course they are. Of course they are.
I know you have to have some cognitive dissonance when you are praising these movies and seeing what they're trying to get at, and then Hopper's also pulled its punches at the last minute, where it was like, here's an environmental message that's actually really important, but also, can't we all just get along? The rich guy's also not that bad, etc. So this movie does have that problem for me, where it's like, oh my God, they got so close to the third rail of talking about something no one talks about, how we're all addicted to our phones and screens are bad for development, etc. And then the movie, of course, eventually finds a way to incorporate it that for the movie works or whatever. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The movie, as a kid's movie, is way better than the average one. So, Mark, tell me about it.
Yeah, it's Toy Story 5. It's continuing up the adventures of all the toys that we know and love since 1995. It's crazy to
Super
think about
Nintendo to PS5. That's the
I know.
Switch 2,
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
Oh, it was pre PS1, wasn't it?
It must have been. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
You blew my mind
Okay,
by saying
anyway.
that, because I had a
Yeah.
regular Nintendo, not a Super Nintendo, and then I had a 64. So like, I didn't have a Super Nintendo. So I know you're right that it is on there because I've seen it before, but I completely forgot that's the original platform for Toy Story. That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's where we're at. Anyway, it's it's nostalgic. It feels good to go back to these characters again. That's how I felt with the fourth one, which I don't think is anywhere near as good as the first three. Those first three films set up a perfect trilogy, telling a story that matures and grows up and teaches you lessons about loss and moving on and all that stuff as they go. And 4 is just kind of an epilogue that feels kind of tagged on because they knew they needed to make some money, and it's fine and funny. I think 5, they have refound their purpose, and I don't know if that's because Andrew Stanton, who's directed Wall-E, among other Pixar things, is now directing Toy Story 5. And so there is this sense that it does have something to say about technology and about where we are as a society in terms of how much we rely on tech for kids and for adults too, and just what that means in terms of how our brains are now functioning and what they're not doing that they used to do so easily. Like, play with physical toys and imagine worlds that are inside of somebody's mind instead of created on a digital screen. I really like that this movie has something to say.
Remind me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. That like the way that they visualize imagination play, the way it's like highly stylized and like hand drawn, animated or something. Like there's something specific. The animation style changes. And
it changes very much.
I can't recall them doing that before. I feel like they've had imaginative play where it's like a flash, like it seems like it's a big set piece, but it's, a toy. The toys being played with is the reveal. But I feel like it's never been stylized in a different way, which makes this one also, like you're saying, it's kind of making a point with that, with the form of the movie. Like, look how imaginative the mind can be when you actually let yourself just have face-to-face contact with other humans and imagine what it's like to play with toys, and it's like an important part of development. As a parent, I was learning a lot. I was seeing this movie in a new light as a parent, I guess, because they're very obviously, Mark, about parenting, and I never realized that until this one, when they make it so clear by the end, where it's like the parents are watching the kid interact, and then they cut to, or they show Buzz and Woody in this doing the same exact thing as the parents watching the kid. I'm like, oh, they're really underlining this for the people like me who took 5 movies in 31 years to understand it's just about parenting and like letting your kids go.
Because it might take 31 years. Yeah,
for sure. It's so cool that I've grown up enough that I grew up watching these, and now I'm like a parent and going, oh, so it's about parents letting their kids go, essentially, is what the whole thing is. But anyway, this one is a Jesse's movie, and it's cool that the Joan Cusack character introduced in the second movie is now like center stage, because Woody, I forgot until this movie, I didn't rewatch it. Woody's like gone Woody went to stay with the abandoned toys in 4 or whatever.
Yeah. He went to stay with the abandoned toys. Buzz Lightyear's hanging around. He's in love with Jessie, and the whole thing is whether or not he's going to propose. Because Buzz's story kind of ended with the second movie. Everybody, once he realized he's a toy, this is what he's supposed to be doing. And,
and there's a B plot here with a bunch of other Buzz Lightyears that I guess eventually comes into play, but I also always kind of felt like it was just kind of I was like, where is this going? You know what I mean? But I liked it. It was just kind of, it was interesting, I guess. It was an interesting structure to do that, but I was definitely more confused about what they were doing for a bit. But anyway.
It does indirectly answer a question that people have asked about the first movie.
Yes.
Ever since it came out, which was, why does Buzz, who genuinely believes he's a space ranger, stop moving around when humans show up? Wouldn't, if he believes he's a space ranger and not knowing he's a toy, not move around? And this one kind of answers it in a way of, it's just the nature of a toy to stop moving when humans are around. It's it's fine. I do like that they at least take that into consideration. But you brought up the idea about the imagination scenes, the playtime scenes, changing the style. And I do think that there is something, because Toy Story, the first Toy Story, was the first computer animated feature-length movie.
Right.
And after that, hand-drawn animation died out. We didn't know it at the time, but it died with Toy Story. It just took a couple of years for everybody to realize it, because Disney was still making some of their hand-drawn stuff, and it was, but then it all faded away. So having Stanton and the team do this style that looks hand-drawn, but probably isn't, but it looks enough like that just to remind you that there used to be a time also in film when we had people create things by hand and use their imaginations and not rely on computers.
You're right.
I think that that's making a strong point too, and I hope it's not just them pointed it out. I hope maybe Stanton and some other animators in Disney and Pixar might take that to heart and do something.
I feel like I know these live action garbage that they keep putting out, they keep making money, so like it's hard to be like they're going to stop doing that and pivot to hand drawn. But I feel like they have been so critically maligned, and like nobody, like I feel like, I don't know, I'm sure they do fine on Disney Plus or whatever, but you have to feel like someone there cares enough to say, why don't we just start doing hand drawn animation again and just watch how it flourishes and see how audiences are so there for it. And I hope that happens. I feel like, what's that movie Gato is supposed to be more hand drawn. I think the upcoming Pixar movie, a cat movie. Anyway, yeah, I agree. It's a really cool idea that they do with the form of the movie to make their point as well. So yeah, I was mostly completely on board with this movie, and like my only criticisms are things that are like, it's a movie made by a large corporation that has to sell toys, so it's at odds with itself at times. But like as a kids movie, as a Toy Story movie, I agree it's better than 4, and I really liked it. It's 3 stars for me.
I really liked it, and it is the fact that it is Jessie's story. I forgot. Maybe I tried to repress just how much in Toy Story 2 Jessie's story just hits you when you realize her backstory and everything. And I think this is really lovely, having her have to face that again and then realizing exactly how much she meant in the long run. It hit me on an emotional level I didn't know. Oh, you're muted.
Yes, I said, of course, same. My wife and I looked at her. We were both welling up at a certain point. I think everyone in the theater is. It's just they pay off that arc and storyline very well, and in that typical Pixar way that you used to rely on them to make you cry every movie. And I feel like now that's kind of faded, but this one definitely brings it back. It's nice to know Pixar can always just go back to this well, because we all love these characters, and they care about story enough usually over there that they don't really fuck it up that bad. So even 4, which people say isn't great, is still pretty good. Like it's still a fun
it's
movie.
At least funny.
Yeah,
and it introduces all these new characters that feel like they fit a part of this world. That's amazing how many new characters over 5 movies they have created. And this one gives you Smarty Pants, the toilet training,
the toilet training person or toy, the tech toy that when it's out of batteries he acts drunk, which is pretty funny. It's a good Conan O'Brien bit. Yeah, and I enjoyed seeing Forky from 4. My kid loves Forky, so Forky was back. And then there was like the Kaboom guy, the Keanu Reeves guy's back from 4. Duke Kaboom. So yeah, they've collected a lot of new characters over the years. And yeah, it's another fun adventure with them. So yeah, 3 stars for me.
Yeah, 3.5 stars from me, Brett, for Toy Story 5.
I love it. That's great. All right, let's talk about voicemails for Isabelle, which I'm surprised to see your review of this. Let's talk about it. Here's a trailer. Voicemails for Isabelle, Zoe Deutsch, that other guy whose name eludes me. He's like Nick Madison or something.
Nick Robinson.
Nick Robinson. Voicemails for Isabelle. It's a rom-com tearjerker. You'll see what I mean. Here's the trailer.
God, you're so beautiful. You're like an SF 6.5, a Kansas 10.
Do you want another shot? Yo, Isabelle!
This random girl has been leaving voicemails on my new work cell. They're for her sister.
I love dating, except for the part where you feel like a hideous, unlovable troll that might match with Ted Bundy. My boss is so unhinged, my dude.
Line up!
Yes, chef!
Did little orphan Annie come into my kitchen last night and shed her ginger ass on this tart?
Always nice to see Nick Offerman. This movie surprised me, although I guess it shouldn't have, because I feel like even you liked Liam McKendrick's other movie that we reviewed, Scrambled. So like I was like, oh, okay, this is a writer-director who's... I was shocked that this wasn't based on a book or something. Like this was her idea. It's clearly very baked in. It's like a rom-com that I feel like is modeled after other ones. It's very You've Got Mail. It even references You've Got Mail. But it's very modernized, and I feel like it's very cute. Tell me the premise and why you reject this film.
I think the rejection for me is it has two premises. The first one is that it's a story of Zoe Deutsch's character, Jill, whose sister is ill. She dies after years of her taking care of her younger sister and doesn't know what to do. She's living in San Francisco and trying to become a chef, and she's just trying to figure out her life while she's grieving and while she's figuring this out and while everyone is working against her and she doesn't know what she's doing, and her love life is a mess and all of this stuff. And I'm like, I'm on board with this because Deutsch is a really good actress and this character is really fleshed out very well, and I was on board with that. Then Nick Robinson's character shows up.
Well,
and the gimmick is, I know he shows up before that. I'm just
saying.
I was
just gonna say, I was actually quite confused by his entrance too in the movie. I was like, what the fuck's going on? And then I realized what was happening pretty quickly. But there was like a scene or two where I was like, who is this and what's happening?
It does another thing like Office Romance, another Netflix movie that just came out last week, does where it crosscuts between two disastrous dinner dates.
Oh, that's right.
That's weird.
Formula. Okay.
That's weird. That's weird that happened. I don't know how it happened, but it's very strange that two movies completely different by completely different people.
Yeah,
just happened to have that.
Well, Netflix crunched the data and they printed out. They sent out an email to everyone, and they said we need a dinner date in every show. People love dinner date scenes.
That's how the algorithm decided, oh, maybe Mark wants to review this one because he liked Office Romance and that had that scene. This one has it too. So Nick Robinson's character shows up, and the gimmick here is that the dead sister's cell phone, her phone number gets transferred to his new work phone. And so Jill, grieving and mourning and wanting to just talk to her sister in some way, calls up her sister's old phone number, which goes to the Robinson character's work phone. And from there, he starts listening to these messages and getting all this private information about her life and essentially stalks her to try to connect with her because he is fallen for her by way of these voicemails. And it's kind of creepy, even by the standards of rom-coms, which can sometimes be a little creepy. This is very creepy, and I couldn't get past that. As much as the character, you brought it up, that they're saying like this is a lot like You've Got Mail. And the joke, I think the joke is that if you have a charming enough leading man, you can pull off this kind of stuff. And I'm not saying Nick Robinson isn't charming. He's good. I really like him in another rom-com called Love, Simon that came out a few years ago. He's very good in that. But he's not, as the movie points out, Tom Hanks. He can't pull this off, and I don't know if any actor really could, because this is so creepy and it's so out of character with the other side of the movie where you are invested.
Right, but you're also waiting for the inevitable moment where she finds out, and then they have to work through it. Like I thought it was clever enough about the rom-com tropes. Like it's very knowing about everything it's doing. So like that worked for me, but I could see why that would also just rub you the wrong way because it's just engaging in, what it's critiquing, I guess, or whatever. I don't know. I thought it was really charming and fun. And I couldn't believe that it worked, because it's a tearjerker in the sense that you do watch this sister relationship like before she dies. So you get like a good half hour or something of backstory, and watching these two sisters be so close, but she was always terminally ill, etc. And the way it happens is very real, and it was working for me on that level. So yeah, it was a little jarring, I think, when it cuts to the rom-com stuff. But then it shifts gears. I think eventually it reveals itself to be this fun movie that is kind of commenting on You've Got Mail style. This is actually really creepy. Commenting on it, but not too much, because I feel like Mark maybe would have liked more, or like actually say more if you're gonna just do it. I don't know. I thought it was quite charming. I think Leah McKendrick has come up with something that works as a rom-com. Like, I earnestly was like, oh, this is sweet and nice, and they should work it out despite their issues and his creepiness. But like, it was a crazy situation. You have to understand where he's coming from. I'm totally 3 stars on this. I thought it was very charming and recommendable, and one of the better Netflix movies, frankly.
I think the problem is the fact that you have characters in the movie bringing up exactly what the problem with the movie is, and what the fact that he doesn't just text the number and say, you're leaving these on the wrong number, I'm getting these. What if he said that, and from there the relationship built up? That could have been different.
Yeah, but then it's like, it is different, but I feel like then it's not commenting on the bullshittedness of these kind of movies, I feel like.
No, it would be by going
rejecting
the
it.
opposite direction, by rejecting it and saying, we
Sure.
don't need to do this kind of convoluted stuff. We don't need to do this stuff that doesn't feel comfortable and that does cross a lot of boundaries in people's lives. And we eventually apologize for it or justify it, apparently, however that works. Do a different direction, take it in a different direction. Maybe you could still bring it up. Like, wouldn't it have been funny if you had actually just pretended that you were, just listened to all those voicemails over and over again and then followed her around? It would be like You've Got Mail. It'd be creepy or something, something like that. You could still do it, but you would be taking it in a different direction. Anyway, point is, I'm 2 stars on Voicemails for Isabelle. I think it does work really well as Jill's story, but the rom-com stuff is way too much, and it doesn't work on its own, and especially just compared to that story.
All right, you guys have to yell at us in the comments about who's right on this one, and also this next one. Although Mark is like more there on the next one than he was on this one. Although I completely understand, this movie's going to be extremely polarizing, I'd imagine. It just hit me in the right place where I was completely like, it's like a magic trick being performed in front of you. You're like, there's no way this works. And to me, it absolutely did pull off what it's trying to do. And I'm a huge fan of John Early and a lot of the comedians in this movie. And in fact, one of my good buddies is a producer on this movie. But I like to think I'm not biased, and I just like this movie. But I will say that. But here's the trailer for Maddie's Secret, starring John Early and written and directed by John Early.
Don't you ever get tired of being such a good girl?
No. When I was jogging over here, I got totally distracted by an idea for a new dish.
The only dishes that you need to be thinking about are the ones that need washing.
Hello, my beautiful wife.
I need to go try something in the kitchen.
You have a gift, Maddie.
This dish does have major breakfast sandwichy hangover vibes.
And you should share it with the world.
600,000 views.
What do you mean? Ever since I was a little girl, I always felt like cooking was a form of storytelling. This is a rotel dip, but made with French techniques. A tortang talong, grilled halloumi with a yuzu kosho crisp.
Damn. She's good. And her dip's good, too.
I swear to God, Maddie, it's like you're out of some modern-day fairy tale. You're perfect.
Trust me, Dina, I'm anything but.
You tore, you ate.
Oh, she ate all right. Didn't your mother ever teach you not to speak with your mouth full?
Boy, was I delighted to see Claudia O'Doherty in this, who's so funny in all the podcasts she's on. And is it her who says the line, or is it someone who says it about her? But you know what they say, never meet your heroes. They might be a giant cunt to you for no reason. This movie is absurd. It's absurd comedy, but the comedy comes from the fact that they're playing it entirely straight and earnest, and it is really well done as an earnest melodrama. I feel like it was making me laugh as much as it was making me feel emotions for this actual character that John Early has created. So it's like a crazy tightrope walk of a movie that is sort of parodying, like movies of the week on TV. Like there's one specifically about bulimia that this was kind of like the title's at least parodying that. And he spoke about how there was one about like a cheerleader getting killed by a jock or something with Tori Spelling that he used to watch, but like and laugh at because it's so in its earnestness. So like it's just this incredibly unique thing, and I think everyone is pitch perfect. Like Kate Berlant is so funny as like the straight man, but she's a woman, so there's like this subversion weirdness going on. John Early is genuinely terrific, I thought, as Maddie. It's like such a loving performance. I was just very taken with it. I mean, I'm a huge fan of his again, but I definitely don't know this is not going to be for everyone, but I found it to be like fantastic. I really loved it. Tell me what you thought.
I'm still trying to get my thoughts around it, and I think that might be a problem with the movie. Honestly,
sure.
It's because I think I didn't find it funny, and I don't, and that's where I'm at. I don't necessarily think that Early wants you to find it funny.
No,
but there are certain parts of it. I think Berlant's performance,
yes,
a lot of the supporting roles. I don't want to just
yes.
single her out. A lot of the supporting roles almost are kind of playing it just a notch too high, where it is almost like parody of that. Like she's playing the best friend who's got the attitude, and she's completely different. And this friendship, how does this friendship work? It's just there's just something off about that performance compared to Early's performance. And you're right, he is very good here, very convincing. Once you get past that, he is playing a woman. There's no question. Like I was waiting for the twist of what the secret was going to be. There are a couple of times it almost seems like they're going to tease it, like, this is where it's going to get revealed, and it never does, because that's not what this movie is. This movie is about a woman with an eating disorder and trying to get through it with her personal life and her professional life and everything going on, and it plays it serious and earnest and genuine. And there's just something off about it, because you can sense it kind of trying to be a bit funny about it, and a bit like this is the gimmick, that we have a man playing a woman the entire time, and it's played straight, and it's done all this way, and it's just that level of distance, that barrier there's an obvious barrier here, and I don't know if the movie is good enough, as good as Early is and as serious as it plays it at times, to pull off and get through that barrier and actually be the movie it wants to be.
Yes, I feel like the humor comes from like the satire of like the influencer food industry, maybe, and there's stuff like that. But like the performance and the story of like a woman secretly hiding bulimia is taken completely earnestly and emotionally honestly, and it has like the same gag, I guess you'd say, as Polyester, like the John Waters movie, where it's like a melodrama where the female lead is played by a man in drag, but it's not really commented on other than that. It's just like that's what's going on. So it's like campy by nature, but also again, it's so sincere that you're like waiting for the joke, but there really isn't one, and that occasionally leads to humor, which is crazy to say. But then like there's also, it's hard to describe what Early's comedy and career is like, because he's a very funny actor and a very incredible stand-up comedian. Please watch his, I think, HBO Max special. Has one of my favorite bits of all time. It's about the Ask App Not to Track button on your iPhone.
Oh, you've told me about this, and I've been meaning to watch
it's
that.
So funny. I will send you the YouTube clip. Someone did a shitty like recording their TV clip of it, and it's on YouTube.
I could watch it on HBO.
I forget what the special's called, but it's a great special. He's so funny. But then like John Early also released a music album where he's the lead singer, and they're covering like Beyonce songs and stuff, and he's genuinely good. And like part of the humor is that he's genuinely doing this, and it's funny that John Early is so earnestly leading a band and doing this. So it's like, but like it's also good. So it's hard for me to describe like why is it funny. Like, and that I think there's a problem with this movie. For some people, will just be like, I don't really get what's funny about this.
I didn't find it funny.
Yeah,
and I think that's I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, and that's kind of where I'm at with it. Is that you can tell it's trying to be funny in some ways.
Yeah,
but I didn't find that particularly funny because of the subject matter, and because Early's performance is so good that it's just there, and I don't know how to reconcile the occasional tone of trying to be funny and satire and just playing it completely straightforward.
As a director debut, though, isn't it very impressively shot and
like
the
looks
lighting, the
good.
Circean lighting, like it's very steeped in its influences, I guess is what you would say. And for an indie production, I think it looks incredible for the kind of movie it is. Yeah, so I don't know. It's like a sincere performance with the sentimentalism of like a Lifetime movie or a movie of the week. But I feel like the disordered eating stuff is like a thing that no one really talks about, at least as a man who, has, I don't know, I go up and down in weight every year. I eat a lot of food and then decide I need to exercise. Like, it's like something we all can relate to without even realizing it, I think. So like, I like appreciated this movie for being earnest about itself. And like, maybe the only way you can get at the sincerity that's on display here is to kind of dress it up in this way. There's something to it that I couldn't shake.
That was another thought I had. It's like, why don't you just cast a woman in this lead role and give an actress a really great role to play? And I thought, well, the whole thing is about body image. And you brought up just men can fluctuate in weight. They can be a certain way. An actor who looks a particular way is not going to get overlooked in casting in Hollywood because of that. It might actually be a benefit. But so I did wonder, like, is that part of it? Is it pointing out that Early can be who he is and look however he looks, and this is fine. But if you had a woman playing this role, everyone would be picking it apart in a certain way. And I wonder if it was just trying to get past that. I think it raises a lot of discussion questions. I just don't know if the movie works on its own. That's where I'm at.
My buddy's been so busy, I haven't had a chance to like sit down and talk with him about it. But like, I've seen he had a one-man show when he was here. He's a comedian as well, and his one-man show was about like his body image issues and stuff like that. And so like, I was like really almost proud to like see this like movie that clearly was about something he's personally invested in and interested in. So like, even though it's a writer-director debut, I'm like, your voice is still in there. Like, it's really crazy to like, producers do have a role, and it's really interesting. And he also produced that Cola Scola Our Home Out West YouTube video, which is also like a old melodrama, not quite parody, just kind of done completely earnestly, and that's the joke. So like, it's a very specific type of humor that some people will connect with and some people will just reject. But I think you kind of have to hand it to this movie. It definitely achieves what it sets out to do. I do think Early is more than stunt casting. I think it is getting at something that, again, you couldn't really talk about without the artifice of it. I think it's fantastic. I'm 3.5 stars on Maddie's Secret. I really, really loved it.
Yeah, I'm definitely not dismissing this movie as just, a gimmick that's a bad idea. I just am not sure about it. I do think the fact that we can talk about it this long and not even discuss what's going on in the movie, I think that's an important point. But I'm 2.5 stars on Maddie's Secret just because as a movie, I don't know. I'm not sure where I'm at with it.
Yeah.
But I definitely don't want to dismiss it and throw it away. I think if you go and see this, you're going to have a lot of interesting conversations about how it was made and why it was made that way.
Yeah.
And whether or not that's worthwhile or not.
The use of color and shadow and lighting, it's just like,
it looks great. It looks
so
really
good.
Does.
And yeah, it somehow got satire with the earnestness in a way that it really connected with me and it felt like it was like unlocking some secret kind of movie I've never really seen before through kind of paying homage to things he grew up loving. Like, there's that scene, was it the exercise scene? That's just like the completely earnest, like really well done, well choreographed dance sequence. Like, that's what John Early live is like. He'll bust out something like that and you're like, this is amazing, he's so good. So I'm just a huge fan, and I think this movie is quite an announcement of a voice for sure. Like, what a bold debut. I think it's really incredible on that front.
Definitely interested to see what he does next.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, actually, I know what he does next.
Is that right?
Our next movie.
Oh yeah, he's in Never Change. He's one of several New York City comedians in Never Change. One of my favorite New York City comedians, Jo Firestone, is the star of this movie, though she doesn't really get to be as funny as she can be in the role. It's more the straight woman character, I guess you'd say. Anyway, here's the movie. The movie's called Never Change. It's a Wet Hot American Summer style parody, joke a minute, laugh riot if you're into it, or insufferable if you're not, I would imagine. Here's the trailer for Never Change.
Call! We got school in the morning! Yeah!
In 2008, North Meadows High Schools had their school year cut short due to a tornado. 18 years later, that class will return home and finish high school.
Yikes.
Can you please just act normal for 2 weeks? Then we're done. You graduate, and we all go back to our normal lives. No drama.
I cannot do this play.
You have to. It's the rules.
No drinking in class.
I really love the premise of this very silly, absurd comedy, which basically is like, what if an entire graduating class had to do Billy Madison style going back to school? But the reasons, like, some like government passed some sort of law where it said you have to complete high school for whatever reason, and there's a specific class that their entire school year was cut short by a tornado or something that like ruined the school. So now that entire class has to go back to school, and they're all like 30-somethings. Really great premise for comedy, and I think they take it in a direction I didn't expect, which is just to make every style of joke possible, including the main characters' names being like Sunny Football and stuff like that. So I am a fan of a lot of these comedians as well, and I thought this was funny. So maybe I'm just real biased this week with all the movies that have very specific sensibilities of humor that either you'll connect with or you won't. I think we have 2 in a row where that's true.
I mean, that is the big question. And Wet Hot American Summer is a movie I kept thinking about over and over again watching this.
Which one of my favorite comedies. I love David Wayne.
I don't like Wet Hot American Summer. I'm the weirdo though who doesn't like Wet Hot American Summer the movie, but actually like the prequel series. I think the prequel series is kind of funny.
It is very funny.
I can't explain that. I don't know why.
That is very strange. I wonder how you feel about the new David Wayne, which is even sillier than Wet Hot. Gail Daughtry and the Celebrity Sex Pass.
Well, I've grown to like David Wayne because I think he's gotten past. I think he's gotten a little better at targeting what the humor and all the satire and all the parodies are. So I'm curious about watching.
I think we'll be having the same conversation again, sadly. But
interesting. Okay, all right. I don't know I haven't not had a chance to watch that yet, so I'm now excited to see it. But Never Change. I kept thinking of that where it is just random jokes, sometimes non-jokes that are treated as jokes, and sometimes very dumb jokes, like the fact that the one character keeps burning his mouth on drinks that are completely different temperatures, like hot coffee, and he keeps drinking the hot coffee and is surprised that he's burning his mouth, but then we'll have a beer and also burn his mouth somehow.
Hilarious. I was dying laughing.
Like, okay, it's kind of funny. There's a whole thing where a character is obsessed with aliens, and because he was apparently abducted by aliens, and that's kind of the run-up. I kind of found the Topher Grace as the obvious serial killer who's been in hiding and writes a play that's a confessional and no one catches on. I found that funny like the first time they made the joke.
Yeah.
By the fifth time they made that same joke, I was kind of bored with it. It's just one of those movies. You either find it funny or you don't. I didn't find it funny because maybe because it's shooting everywhere, trying to find jokes and humor instead of maybe focusing on something specific.
There's an earnest, good story here if they cared to tell it, which I think maybe is what frustrated some people because they went for absurdism.
I'm fine with it being absurd. I just got maybe a little bit more focus of what it's trying to do. Is it doing like parody of Back to School, Rodney Dangerfield sort of thing, or is it doing parody of high school movies from like the era?
I mean, there's some earnestness about these characters wanting to like a redo of their lives and stuff like that. That's what I meant by like, it's such an earnest, there's such a good potential for character stuff, and it just kind of chooses to be funny with it instead, which like maybe that's another joke or something. But I don't know. I was laughing enough to recommend it as a 3-star movie that I enjoyed, but I definitely know that some people will just reject it. So if you're give it like how long you can give it like 5-10 minutes and know if you'll like it.
I think if you're not laughing by the time that the premise is introduced, you kind of have a sense that maybe it's not for you, and then give it a couple more minutes because that's when it really at least gets into the rhythm of throwing jokes at you over and over again. And if you're not laughing at any of it, even probably not for you. But it wasn't for me. I got through it all. I found some of it kind of funny, but most of it just kind of fell flat for me. So 1.5 stars for me for Never Change, which is currently streaming on Hulu.
Yes, it's on Hulu. Congratulations to John Reynolds, who I believe wrote it. He stars in it. I think there's a lot of writers on it. John Reynolds. He's Sunny Football. John Reynolds and John Early, both on one of the best shows of the past decade. Did you watch Search Party?
Oh no, I didn't, but I want to watch it.
it gets completely absurd by the last season to the point where I almost recommend you specifically don't watch the last season because the last season is specifically like completely off the rails, like different style of humor than the rest of it. But it's a really wonderful show and it's very funny and great performances from all those people. And Alia Shawkat and another lady whose name I don't remember, who's very funny. Anyway, check out Search Party if you like the humor in all these movies, even though that's not really representative of the humor of that show. Though Michael Showalter directs that show and created that show, who is, you know, related to David Wayne in that he's in all those movies, and they also were in the comedy troupe Stella together with Michael Ian Black. This is all too much information. This is comedy download from me.
Comedy 101.
All right, next up, Rose of Nevada, the new film from Mark Jenkin, who, did you also not get Ennis Men, or did you like it?
I didn't care for Ennis Men.
Okay, cool. Me too. But I actually did like this one a little more, even though this guy definitely has a sensibility and a style. Like, I could tell, I'm going to be able to tell this guy's movie from the opening shot from now on, I feel like, oh, this is the Jenkin movie. He has a distinct look, and it's a great look. Here's a trailer for Rose of Nevada, starring Callum Turner and George McKay.
Are we gonna try again?
Who's gonna crew?
I'll be back in a couple of days.
3 years Luke was on that boat. Different place back again.
See you soon, my darling.
They had to call it Rose of Nevada because Ghost Ship was already taken. Mark, tell me about this movie, which I was so very surprised by, like, the genre premise of it, which is hardly a genre premise, which is kind of a way for this movie to tell a very interesting story about the past and the present and the future. Tell me what you got from this one.
So it is a small fishing village, or used to be, is kind of gone through this economic downturn because the industry dried up, and suddenly out of nowhere, an old fishing trawler shows up that had disappeared about 30 years beforehand, and it just is there. And the guy who owned the boat sees an opportunity and just kind of takes the name placard off. It was called the Rose of Nevada, and then hires a new crew to go out and start fishing again. And some weird things happen. George McKay and Callum Turner play the two members of the crew who end up on the boat. McKay is this guy who's a family man who moved into town recently and he needs money because the roof has collapsed in his house. And Turner plays this wandering drifter who just shows up looking for a place to sleep and ends up with a job and with a lot more by the time the movie's done. It's a hard one to describe. It involves time travel, probably, or some kind of fantasy setup for what these men actually want and what they don't know they need in their lives. I don't know how to describe it, but I found it hypnotic because of just the way that it's shot. You're right. He has Jenkin has a very distinct style. It looks like an independent British movie from the 70s just popped out of nowhere into existence right now, which is fascinating in itself, because this movie just, is about something that pops out of existence from the past, and the movie has that same sense. There's just something about it, just the way that the style of it and the aesthetics of it tie together with what the movie is actually trying to do. The fact that these performances are so good and so quiet, and that you get a sense of what it's like to work on one of these boats while they're doing it, but it's also bringing up things about these characters. I don't know how to describe it. It's not like an exciting movie. It's not, but it has a lot of ideas about how things change over time and how some things kind of stay consistent, and that we're all kind of wanting certain things that escape us in some way or form, and that we would give up everything to get it.
Well,
there's a lot of ideas here.
Yeah, I thought what was most interesting is the idea that, like, I was reading an interview with him that he was basically saying, we only know the present. Like, we can only understand the present. We can't understand the future. I feel the same way that we can't know the past because we weren't there. So you can only understand the present. And this movie kind of plays with that idea in a very compelling way. So yeah, I found it transfixing in a way that I did not with Ennis Men, because Ennis Men I felt like was really elusive, and this is definitely kind of elusive, but it's also more rewarding if you are willing to give into it, I guess, is what I would say. Mark said it beautifully. I don't really need to say anything else. It's a 3-star experience for me. I really enjoyed it, and I'm curious about his, what he'll do next, even though I feel like I know what it'll look like.
I will know exactly what it looks like, but that's not a problem. I mean, Ennis Men looked great.
It did.
The
The 16 millimeter photography, the design, the sound design.
Even that old school echoey sort of
just
sound.
the crackling. Yeah, the way the dialogue the dialogue sounds analog, like it's recorded with analog means somehow. It just has a style to it that you can't really ignore. So I enjoyed it more than the other film I've seen from this guy. So 3 stars for me. Where are you on it?
Yeah, 3 stars for me from Rosa, Nevada as well. It's in limited release now, and I think it's expanding over the next couple of weeks.
All right. Next up, a new Shudder original. It's called The Voices of Our Mother. Here's the trailer.
I need your help, Annika. Your mother's going to need you.
Evil begets evil. Evil doesn't give up.
Mama?
I think this movie has some interesting ideas, but they all get overshadowed by the fact that it's just a possession exorcism horror movie, and then it just like really leans into that with all the cuts and the loud noises, and all of it feels at odds with the actual movie that I found interesting. So it was frustrating is how I found it. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it does eventually just become typical possession movie with a couple of, I don't even want to say twists. It doesn't go exactly the direction you think it's going to go with an exorcism and all that stuff, but it kind of does too.
The explanation or like of what's going on I thought was specific and interesting enough. Like the characters, like what was happening. So like one character dies and then something happens because that person was doing something. I'm trying to be very vague.
Yeah.
But that was interesting to me, but like not much else was.
Yeah, not much else was. And I think this reliance on the supernatural kind of gets rid of what might have been its most interesting element, which is this human story about a group of siblings who have separated from their family, from each other because of the abuse they suffered as kids, and they haven't been able to process all of that. And something else happened that you learn about later on, and they're trying to figure out that and also keep that a secret. There's some really good stuff that's about human storytelling, and that might have been interesting, and then as soon as you bring in that supernatural element and you keep shoving it in there, it just feels like it's completely undermining all of that more interesting stuff, and it just becomes this cliched scare fest by the end, which is really a shame.
Yeah, like it's about a group of kids who have to gather because their mother is ill or whatever, and they're dealing with trauma, and we find out that like they had a very abusive father. But again, all these the explanation ends up being the supernatural stuff, which like on one hand, I found there was a compelling idea behind what was going on. And then the other hand, you go, well, that's kind of trivializing.
Yeah, a little bit.
The idea of like, well, you can just kind of explain away an abusive father by saying it was the demons got him, which people
But this movie
do.
Literally does that.
Yeah.
It brings in a priest to literally say like, oh yeah, your father was fine, but then he married that woman.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah, so I guess that's bad. So yeah, there's like one interesting idea that I didn't want to spoil that I thought was like, oh, that's cool. And then the rest of it, it just kind of, it's not particularly, it's just a very cheap looking movie. It's very soft focus or something. It just like didn't look great either. I don't know. It was pretty generic as far as these things go. I won't remember it next week.
I've kind of mostly forgot about it. So
yeah, I'll go 2 stars because I don't know. There's something to it, even though it ends up becoming like every other one you've ever seen.
Yeah, 1.5 stars for me for Voices of Our Mother. That is, I think, as you said, currently streaming on Shudder.
All right, I'll do a recap now. I think I can do it.
I sent it to you too.
Cool. Okay. Toy Story 5, 3.5 from Mark, 3 from me. Voicemails for Isabelle, 2 stars from Mark, 3 stars from me. That's on Netflix. Maddie's Secret, 2.5 stars from Mark, 3.5 stars from me. Big wide gulf there. That movie's playing in limited release. It'll probably be streaming soon enough. Never Change, 1.5 from Mark, 3 from me. That's on Hulu now. Rose in Nevada, 3 from both of us. That's in limited release now. And then The Voices of Our Mother, 1.5 from Mark and 2 from me. That's on Shudder now. And reminder that the two biggest releases I didn't get to, Leviticus and Death of Robin Hood, we'll get to next week. All right. Thanks, guys. Let's read the one review we got because it really made me laugh. And it's actually the nicest / meanest thing anyone's ever said to me. Here, so we got to find it. Hold on. It's really good. Mark, I found this review to be actually heartwarming, despite it being actually very mean to us. In their defense, they gave us 5 stars, so I really have no room to complain. Thank you. You did what I want everyone to do. But they did bring a complaint, which is honestly, this is the method that you should use. You should give us 5 stars and then tell me why we're terrible. They said, I appreciate that these guys are bringing out the weekly movies. I use it as a guide for what to watch. Thank you for that. Unfortunately, the reviews are terrible. They need a normal person to talk about what the regular things going on in the movie are. About 90% of the time, I disagree with them, and the things they like are not good to a typical moviegoer. I want them to keep going to know what to see for the week. So 5 stars for watching the movies, 1 star for the reviews. And the fact that they gave us 5 and not 1 on iTunes.
Yeah, did do the average. Yeah,
huge.
I'll take that.
That's huge.
Yeah,
so,
huge deal.
Thank you. That's very
I do
kind.
get the logic. I do get the logic, though.
I appreciate it. And you know what? I'll speak about this, how I feel about it. I feel like there's like a median moviegoer that I'm definitely not trying to appeal to in any way. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like gauging my review towards a specific audience or something that I'm like, well, I guess I will point out when it's like, I'm not going to like this. I didn't like this, but if you like Marvel movies, you maybe will. Maybe that's something I'll say. But I don't know. I feel like it's not our job to, I don't know. I feel like there's what a film critic wants out of a movie and gets out of a movie is maybe different than like, I don't know, the way some people watch movies is definitely like different from like the way my dad watches a movie, for example. And I don't know. I just feel like I don't know what a movie review looks like that isn't talking about what the movie's like about and like what the meaning behind it is versus just like
how it was made and
recapping the plot or something. Like I don't really understand what I'm supposed to do. So, or I mean, if you just don't agree with the opinions, I get that on Yahoo all the time. That's fine. Like I feel like this feels like a Yahoo commenter jumped over to the podcast because I get this shit all the time. People just like, no, his opinion on this movie sucks. And that's fine. I mean, opinions are different. So, you know, keep giving us 5-star reviews, keep recommending us to people, say we suck when you recommend us so their expectations are low. Like this guy, just be like, man, this podcast is really helpful. These guys really suck though. And then maybe the expectations being low will lead to more 5-star reviews. That's my thinking because they can only be impressed. That's what I'm thinking. So thank you. And also, I'm just joshing around. I mean, you're allowed to have your opinion. That's what we have. That's what we do here.
That's the whole deal.
That's the whole deal. So that's that guy's opinion.
Thing.
But hey, it's a 5-star opinion, so it's meaningful to me. So thank you. I will read your 5-star neg of us. Just this is proof. That's the only review. There's a lot of comments, I believe. So let me jump over.
There was one comment. I think we missed it a couple weeks ago that I wanted to, because I just thought about it when I was sending you the recap. Somebody asked, why do I have to send you the recap when you're doing the recaps at the end? And it's literally because I have no clue what Brett is going to rate these movies until we're doing the show. And I like it that way. Because,
Mark likes that element of suspense or whatever you want to call it.
So as I'm doing it, I'm typing. I have like just a little notepad thing set up, and I'm just typing in our ratings as we go because it's fun that way.
Totally, I love it. Let's see, where are we? How many days ago was this podcast? I guess 9 days ago. I read this one. Okay. Someone said The Furious was awesome. I agree.
Yep.
Leonardo Lopez says, it'll be interesting to see what you guys think of Toy Story 5, but what I'm most excited to see is the week after that, where we get to see a review of Jackass Best and Last. Buddy, I can't wait. It's my most anticipated movie of the year. I'm a huge Jackass fan. I'm especially excited to see what Mark thinks about it because he has possibly the most fascinating relationship with the series, more than any other film franchise I can think of. He's given the first one 0 stars, meaning it's one of the worst movies he's ever seen. He gave number 2 3 stars, and every other movie has fallen between the 1.5 to 2 star range for him. Considering the series has been going on for over 20 years, maybe he'll finally grow fond of the crew shenanigans since he spent this much time with them now watching all these movies. I personally love all the Jackass movies, so this final one will not disappoint me. Now, Mark, I was right in the wheelhouse of the right age to be into Jackass. So I was a huge fan of the show and a huge fan of the movies. I, of course, recorded myself and my friends doing a bunch of silly bullshit as a result of that show. So they're responsible for horrific things like that.
Had the disclaimer at the beginning. That's your own fault. That's
exactly. They say, please don't do this.
Don't do
and then
this.
You know what they did? They went and rewarded some people that did it in Jackass Forever and added them to the cast, like validating all of our wildest dreams. But anyway, I'm a huge fan. Did you not like the last one, I imagine, based on what this guy said?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Yeah, I think 2 is good. It's funny.
I mean, I wonder how a gap between 0 and 3 stars is insane. So like,
did
you wise up or did you like not like it?
I don't know what happened. I just laughed a lot watching 2. And
I remember my
was
dad
honest
and
about it.
For sure. My dad and I saw all of them together actually, but we definitely saw the second one early at a River East early screening that Ain't It Cool News was hosting. And I remember my dad basically laughing the whole time and then afterwards pretending like it wasn't funny. Because that's what you have to do as a parent.
The first one I didn't watch Jackass the show. I still haven't. I have warmed up to them in general. I think Johnny Knoxville is actually a pretty good actor too.
Did you rewatch the first movie ahead of the last one or anything like that?
No. I don't need to catch up on the plot.
No, I know that, but I'm curious if you would think it's like a 0 star movie now. Like I don't think
I do wonder that too, but I'm not really that interested. But maybe after this one,
there's no real reason to. You know why? Especially why Jackass Best and Last is kind of a clip show movie. I have a friend who saw it, and it's like I think he said it's 60% new stuff, but 40% is old footage, 30% of which is the greatest hits, and 10% of which is old footage that's just never been used, which is also cool. So I don't know. It's not.
So 70% of it is new.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is better than I was expecting based on the trailer and the title being Best and Last. But they did shoot a lot of new stuff, but maybe only for a few days or something. But it's probably they probably just kind of terrorized the new people, is how I imagine. But we'll see. That movie's next week. The screening is actually just like really late the night before, so I'm just going the day of. I'm sure.
You're getting the screening.
Oh, yeah. So it's one of those.
Yeah, we're not getting the screening. Yeah.
Yeah, they're treating it like it's mandatory. New York, LA, they have to. They did it at like 8:30 or 9 at night. I'm not going to go to the city for that, but it's at 2 p.m. It opens on Thursday, so I'll be there.
Yep.
Can't wait.
I'll be watching it, and we'll review it next week.
I'm sure I'll be the only one there in my little theater in my little town. Anyway, Nelson said, my wife and I saw Disclosure Day, and we both hated it. A completely stupid movie that plays as an allegory for immigration. And the movie's third act is embarrassing, and that final line is cringe. My entire theater groaned, and comments like, "Oh, come on," were heard being shouted. Haven't seen a reaction like that since The Witch. And then someone commented, "Thank you. This helps me avoid another The Village. I remember that horrible movie. Great director, horrible movie." There are dialogues. People are finding community in the comments. I like this. I don't feel as strongly about Disclosure Day as he did. I didn't hate it. I thought it was interesting, but not great. And you were more forgiving, but also noted some flaws. And that's fine. That's fine.
Mostly in the third act. I do like the idea of it as an allegory for immigration and what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that, and I hadn't thought of that because I was just kind of caught up in the actual filmmaking of it so much in the story, which is kind of a problem. But
yeah. Nelson also said, saying it's a Shyamalan movie is an insult. He at least explains a silly twist. There's 0 stuff that happens here that makes any sense. On top of that, Firth spends the entire movie fighting hard to try and stop them, and then in the end just gives up. As for the alien stuff, it's very much, in my opinion, about how we treat those who are different. I think he's just using Alien as a conduit. Yeah, I mean, that could be true.
That could be very true.
But he's also obsessed with aliens, so I think it's also a little bit about aliens.
Science fiction has always been about something else.
Yeah,
it has to be.
Hell yeah. That's what's up. MWS 51581 said, and bringing up another Simpsons connection for the second time in a couple weeks. After previously saying Power Ballad reminded me of the Flaming Moe episode, I definitely thought about the motorcycle sword fight from the Hell Satan's episode when I saw the bicycle sword fight in The Furious. I hope the filmmakers thought that too. I had a misconception that Stop It Train was directed by John Waters because the poster said from the director of Hairspray. Not that Hairspray, it turns out.
The musical.
That's pretty funny that they did that. I wonder if anybody else thought that. I usually listen to the podcast rather than watch, so it was amusing to see Brett vape. In the spring, summer, fall months, I live in Georgia. You guys keep me company on Fridays while I have a cigar or two and listen to the show. Well, cheers, buddy. Take a puff for us right now. I'll hit my pen again. That's what you're missing on YouTube is just whatever I do while we're recording. Sometimes it's smoke a pen, I guess. Cool. Thank you for that comment. You guys are the best. Ed said, great episode. I think I'm close to doing a remix of your theme when I have more time. Have to turn Brett's crazy laugh into a meme. I usually listen rather than watch, so I have to check out the glasses. I definitely misunderstood one of Mark's criticisms of The Furious, which I'm seeing again, even though there's only one Regal in New York City playing it, only one screening per day. What the fuck? That is what the fuck. Because I thought he was saying the mix of different Asians was a pejorative, but glad you're back on the schedule for Fridays. No, that's not what he was saying.
Oh yeah, no. I think it's great that it's a showcase for all this talent across Asia.
Yes, exactly. And then Ed commented back later because he checked on YouTube. Oh, the glasses are cute. So he appreciates our glasses, which I'm wearing today, and Mark is not.
I'm not.
We have to differentiate ourselves somehow. What else do we have? Kevin O'Keefe said, I told my 10-year-old son there were two movies I was making him see this summer, The Odyssey and Disclosure Day. They already have their 70mm tickets for opening weekend for The Odyssey. We just got back from the movie, and halfway through I was nervous thinking he was going to be bored and taking numerous bathroom breaks, but the movie ended with him taking no breaks and telling my wife and I that he loved it. Spielberg is a director that first made me fall in love with movies with E.T. and Jurassic Park, so I wanted him to have his own cinematic moment like that. Well, I was underwhelmed with this film while watching it. Hearing the enthusiasm in my son's voice while telling me how much he liked it caused me to fall in love with it and overlook any warts I noticed at the time. Well, that's beautiful. Love that.
It is.
I hope my kid does that for me for a movie I don't like that much. I hope that happens. I'm sure it will. I've seen the Cat in the Hat movie a lot lately, Mark. She's really into that, like, infamously... Everyone
Mike
hates
Myers
that movie.
one?
The Mike Myers one.
Oh god, it's awful.
Well, it's colorful. So for a
2.5,
3-year-old, she thinks it's hilarious. There's probably some fart jokes that she thinks are funny. What else? Movies don't look like that anymore, so I'm fine to watch that.
That's actually a good point.
Yeah, they don't like spend the money to make a movie look like that now, like build the sets that are kooky and Dr. Seussian. Although, did you hear that they just announced Ron Howard and Jim Carrey are doing The Grinch too? Which, like, I can't imagine from all the horror stories we heard about Jim Carrey in that costume getting the makeup done. I can't imagine he wants to do it again, although there's been enough time that maybe it's easier for them now. Not just CGI, but like it would take quicker to do. I don't know. But they're doing The Grinch again.
Then maybe they just have to make up his face a little bit.
Yeah, they're going to definitely do it differently. It's not going to take as long.
Interesting.
It'll be interesting. That movie also looks
Jim
good.
Carrey was retired except for the Sonic movies.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they wrote a big fat check and he's fine.
Everybody's got to pay their taxes
for sure. And I wish he would do real comedies and whatnot again, but I'll take this also. Do the Truman Show too. Let's get Peter Weir. Let's get real Peter Weir back out here. All right, Disclosure Day. This is it from Aaron Collins. So looking forward to this movie, but couldn't agree more on your review. So disappointed, and the more I think about it, the madder I get. I honestly think the third act of this movie should have been the start, and you have an entire different movie, but that's just me. But did they intentionally make Colin Firth look like Bill Pullman from Independence Day? That's all I thought the whole movie. It was distracting as hell. That's interesting. I didn't think that, but maybe you're right. On another note, challenge accepted. I realized we were beyond scary movie, but here we go. Well, my son agrees with you that the Final Destination was the highlight of the film. I did find that I was laughing through the entire movie. Maybe I'm easily amused, or it just hit me right after a long week. I love the horror vignettes, Chris Elliott is long legs, the Substance white chicks, and even the It Follows reference, which I did clock. How did you miss it? Horror lifestyle forever. Shout out as my power was also out, so I feel you. Midwest storms are the worst. Love you guys. This is the person who I was like, please tell me what you laughed at in that movie. So I'm glad that they got to it. So thank you. I think that was it, because we have Leonardo Lopez talking about how there's going to be missing movies, and he was right. But I did catch one of them that he thought I might not. So, We did 6 movies. There will be 2 extra next week to make up for that. But also next week, what do we have? What's the big one? Supergirl, Olivia
Jackass.
Wilde's The Invite, Jackass. Something called Lucky Strike with Scott Eastman. Something called The Get Out with Russell Crowe. Not Get Out by Jordan Peele. Something called Couture with Angelina Jolie. And then 40 Dates and 40 Nights. And probably more, because Mark doesn't always put everything on his website.
Yeah,
He watches
there's a couple.
1,000 things.
There's a couple of indies I'm gonna watch, and we'll see if I cover them. I probably will.
All right. Well, we'll see you then, guys. Thank you. Bye.